Hello, sir.
How you doing?
Not bad. What's your name here and what kind of car you got?
Okay, my name's Dave Schallenberger, and this is a 1970 Monte Carlo Super Sport.
Oh. Okay, now how did you retrieve this car?
How what?
How did you retrieve this car? How did you get a hold of it?
Well, I got it from a guy who lives in Fairfield. He just heard that he had it for sale. This is about 8 years ago. I've had it for 8 years.
Oh, really?
I went down and looked at it.
2006.
Price was right, and so I bought it from him.
Okay, now have you always been interested in Monte Carlos?
No, I was kind of a Chevelle guy. Always been a Chevy guy.
I've heard that. I heard Chevelle a lot here. A lot of people like Chevelles here.
Yeah.
What other cars you had in the past besides this one?
I had a 66 Chevelle. And had a 69 Corvette. I had a 62 Chevy Impala, 64 Chevy Impala. And I also had a 64 Cadillac that I liked pretty well too.
Same year as the 64, or you had two 64 cars?
Two 64 cars, yeah.
What's your favorite decade of cars?
My favorite what?
Decade of cars.
I'd say the 60s. I like 50s and 60s. That's when I grew up.
Are you a grandparent?
Yes.
Does your grandkids like any cars at all? Are your grandkids exhibiting any kind of your behavior? They like cars like that, like you do?
They love the Corvette. I have a 2000 Corvette, a C5 that's a convertible, 6-speed also, and they love to ride in the Corvette because it's a convertible.
My grandpa's Mustang convertible, and there's sometimes where he took me to. When I was growing up, he took me to Reds games, sometimes and that.
Yeah.
I was wondering, have they exhibit your interest other than the Corvette? Has any of them asked about like going to car shows with you or seeing other cars or anything like that? Or
yeah, they're kind of, I take them every once in a while. They're, the grandkids are just, the boys are 9 and 10 years old, so it's not something that they would rather. They would rather go fishing than.
They're not at that stage yet.
No,
with the cars, yeah. So, I was what about? Well, your kids are past that stage. I mean, how are your kids like doing with cars?
Yeah, when my son turned 16, I bought him a '68 Firebird.
Oh.
And
what color was it?
Well, it was a cream color, but we quickly changed that. I bought it just so I could show him how to work on it. So it was a fixer-upper.
Well, they always tell me when I remember, being like, late teens, early 20s, they told me, they're like, if you're going to buy a car, you're going to have to take somebody with you who knows this stuff about cars.
Yeah.
So I took my grandpa when I bought a car, and I was wondering how shifty are, have you encountered any kind of shifty people, like when you try to buy cars? Shifty car salesman?
Well, yeah, you can never trust a car salesman, that's for sure. And everybody has, their idea of what they want out of their car, what it's worth. You can find them, people that really need to get rid of them, and you can find some pretty good deals out there.
Oh, okay. Open the car door here, see what you got here. What kind of seating is this? What seat is this?
This is the original 70 interior, and with the bucket seats and the console and the 4-speed.
Really? Damn. Looks pretty good there. The original seats.
Well, they're replacement covers. But yeah, those are original style.
And basically, what are basically, this may sound stupid, but what are basically replacement covers? It's just something that is it like something like new seats where they try to model, like it's new, but they try to model it to look like old?
It's made to the old specs, just like the originals, but they're just new covers. You take the old worn out ones off, and as long as the foam underneath it is still good, isn't rotted away, then you can just put new covers on it. If the foam's bad, you got to put new foam under it.
Oh.
You know. The best part's the engine.
Oh, well, let's see it.
Go up and see the engine.
Yep. All right then. Oh, that's kind of nice. A 454.
454. This is all Super Sports came with 454s.
Turbo. Now a 454. It's a turbo jet, which means it's I guess very powerful.
This is the 450 horsepower LS7 motor, and well, not 7, LS6 motor. Back then they made the smaller 454 was an LS5. This is called an LS6. It's got a bigger cam. It's got the rectangular port heads, the aluminum intake. It's got 11-to-1 compression, and big Holly carburetor on it. And I've rebuilt everything from the engine all the way back, including the rear end. I've got a 12-bolt Posi 373 ring and pinion in it, and it's got a Muncie 4-speed with a Hurst shifter. It's all brand new, all the way back. So.
Oh, really? Wow. So how far can this thing go?
How far?
How far? Well, I mean, how long does the engine last?
Depends on how you drive it.
Oh, how you take care of it. See, 450, there's different, like 350s and 450s to get to hear all this stuff.
This is the big block. The 350 is a small block.
Oh.
They call the small block the big block the rat motor, and the small block they call the mouse.
Oh.
So it's but
the small they call it mouse because it's weak, or is because it's just the size of it?
No, just because it's small. I mean, they're not weak at all. You can build the small block Chevrolet has been around forever, and they're
basically a mouse could be a lion. Basically a mouse to look at, but a lion.
The mouse could roar, yeah.
So anyway, well, your parents, were they ever in the cars at all?
Well, Dad always liked. He was a Ford guy. He had a '65 Mustang fastback. He always had a standard shift. So I grew up. I learned how to drive a standard shift. Never had an automatic. So, but he, like I said, he was a Ford guy, and the Mustang was nice, and wouldn't mind having one of them myself. But my brother, me and my brother grew up. We're 2 years apart, and he always had a Chevrolet. So he had a '55, and then he had a '57, and we worked on that car and rebuilt the motors. It had a small block in it. Had a 283 bored out to 301, and we built that motor and just had a great time while we were growing up. I mean, that was a neat experience,
Well, I was wondering, like, as far I've seen a few. I've been doing this car show. I've been filming a lot of these car shows since 2012, and I've counted some cars. This guy had like an army truck. He served in the army. He had this big truck with the helmet and the gun on top of it and everything.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, I don't know if you ever did any military work or served in the military, or if you had like any kind of military cars you liked. But any like cars that you ever see, like I'm talking about like big kind of cars, or like big trucks, or even like the emergency services vehicles. Is there any kind of automobiles in that kind of aspect you would love to have?
I can't say that I'd love to have them. I like to look at them. I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps, and my job was a truck driver. So you hit it right on the nose there. I drove a lot of Jeeps, a lot of personnel carriers, and in 5-ton trucks.
So, well, did you have to drive like the soldiers around, or did you drive a lot of like bombs?
Most of the stuff
explosives.
I was in a tank battalion, so I had it was a heavy-duty truck, so I hauled a lot of heavy equipment for the tanks, including ammo,
guns.
A lot of it was to carry a new motor or a new transmission for a tank. You had to have a big truck just to carry that in the back. And then after I left Vietnam and come back to the States, I was in a missile battalion. So I was stationed at Cherry Point, North Carolina, and I would have to load, the missiles. They carried the missiles on the truck, the ones that were still in the canisters, and the launchers were trailers you pulled behind the truck. So you had the actual missile in the bed of the truck, and the launchers behind it.
Really?
And then all the radar equipment, they had the radar houses, I would say, pods that would sit in the bed of the truck.
Really?
And when you got to everything had to be mobile.
Wow.
Okay, so you could move it. So the whole company was mobile. You could pack up everything, and you could.
So they were like, well, you guys like, I don't know how to describe this. That old TV show, MASH.
MASH.
Yeah, that one. Well, you guys kind of like was like, because they were mobile, surgical, basically center.
Yeah.
Was so they had to get wounded soldiers and all that stuff. I mean, my mom was a much bigger fan of that show than I am. But they had like it was like mobile surgical, army surgical or whatever. I mean, they were like on the ground. Of course, the helicopters were bringing the people in and stuff like that, and whatever his face, Hawkeye or whatever, would like you work on them. So, like mobile, I'm gonna say these doctors were like on the ground all the time, this one little area and stuff. Were you guys like a mobile, like driving around just a little area all the time, or what?
Well,
I know it's surgery, and you guys are different. I mean, driving around, but still.
You had to be fully functional and able to pack up and load everything you have, everything that you need on the trucks, and move wherever across the country, and then set up again in another location.
Was there ever like IEDs or something like that?
Well,
I'm talking about the things, the ground things that they run over or something.
IEDs, yeah, we called them mines. You would run over a mine. The difference is the IEDs are electrically charged. So that somebody has to be watching, and then at just the right moment, they set the charge off. A mine, you have to run over and hit it. So the results are the same. The vehicle gets blowed up. But they could pick their target with the electrical one, with the IED one, and blow pick that one truck or that one.
Were you ever like afraid of hijacking or anything like that? Where you're carrying all this ammo and stuff around?
No.
Nah. Just wondered.
Nah.
I'm saying you got all that stuff and all this weaponry and stuff like that. I was concerned someone might bust in and steal it or whatever, or harm you.
No. There was a lot of soldiers there. You're not by yourself.
Oh, that's good. You shouldn't be.
No. You don't drive anywhere in a combat zone unless you're in a convoy.
Yeah.
You never go anywhere by yourself.
What's that, like an armed convoy? It's like an armed thing?
Convoy is, it's armed, and it's you're all together. You're not taking off and leaving by yourself.
Oh.
Then you would get, then you could get hijacked or whatever.
So some of the things you wouldn't mind having as far as like the army and stuff like that, but talking about like like police cars or anything like ambulance things, you would never want to have like an ambulance like car or whatever. I mean, just like a regular car that like drives around here, it might be just like own it and show it off or whatever.
Never had an interest in that.
No. Okay, well, let me see here. That is a nice car.
Thank you.
How much money you put into this thing to keep it up?
I've probably got 20,000 in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Since you got it? And what kind of shape was it when you got it?
The paint's the same.
Okay.
The outside's pretty much the same. I put the correct interior in it, and I put new tires on it. I put the radial tires on it.
So this thing never looked like a disaster when you got it?
No. The paint was just like what you see here. And this paint is 28 years old. It's been on there for 28 years. What I've done is just rebuild it mechanically from the front to the back.
Well, that's good. So yeah, it's good. Great car. And one more time, it's a
1970 Monte Carlo Super Sport. 454.
455. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
I don't know if anyone else wants to be interviewed.